Hello and welcome back to Against the Storm Overexplained. Against the Storm has gone live on Steam, although it is still in early access. So what I think we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and redo the tutorial, redo all the tooltips, see what's changed since the first time I made these videos, and provide a new entry video for anybody who is just starting to play this game. So, we'll be reading out all the tooltips and going through the game from the basics. Let's get started. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at the settings. The one setting you may want to take a look at is down at the bottom here that says Skip Tutorial. We're not going to be skipping the tutorial today, but if this is not your first time playing this game, that might be a good option to choose. With that in mind, let's get started.
The world is plagued by the Blight Storm, a vile cycle of destruction ravaging everything in its path. The only safe haven is the smoldering city where the mysterious Scorched Queen reigns. You are one of her viceroys, a pioneer sent into the wilds, tasked with establishing new settlements and acquiring valuable resources for the crown. Your goal is to help rebuild the smoldering city and secure the future of the Queen's subjects.
Okay, so as you can see, our job is going to be to make settlements outside of the smoldering city. We're using WASD or the mouse to move the camera. Neglecting your village will increase the Queen's impatience and bring her wrath upon you. Fulfilling your duties will increase the town's reputation, unlock new buildings, and eventually bring you to victory. Now, choose a new blueprint, click on the crown icon below. Each expedition starts with only a few essential blueprints. More will be given to you as you gain reputation points. Now, pick the woodcutter's camp. Press space to resume. Build a woodcutter's camp and explore the forest. You have to keep the fire going at all times. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and build a path first. And I always kind of build this path around... Whoops, that's not what I meant. I always kind of build this path around the main area, but I leave one strip of space on either side. And then I connect the two in the middle. This is just my preference, but you can do it however you want. Later on in the game, we're going to get decorations that I'll be putting in this little space here. Now the game wants us to make a woodcutter camp, which we will do. And we're going to go ahead and put it as close to the trees as possible. And then R rotates it. So we'll set the woodcutter camp right there. We'll extend the path out to it. Winning and losing. In Against the Storm, you build not one, but many settlements. To successfully establish a town and therefore win a run, you need to collect enough reputation points to fill the entire reputation bar. That's the blue one. It's important to do this before the Queen's impatience, the red one, reaches its maximum. If the Queen loses her patience, you will lose. You also lose if all of your villagers either leave or die. Now, we can also change the speed at which time progresses by either clicking on 1.5, 2, or 3, or by using the 1, 2, and 3 keys. We have no direct control over what each of these, like what order they put the pathway down in. All we can do is assign them tasks. Anyone who is not assigned a task, their job is to build things. So if they're not already doing a job, for example, if they are not working in the woodcutter's camp, which I can add workers to by clicking... there. but anyone who's not actively working in a place will be building. We have new orders. So what the queen would like me to do is build 2 woodcutter camps, cut 10 pieces of wood, and it will give me a group of 3 beavers, and it will make my production of wood faster. It'll also gain me a reputation point, so we're definitely going to do that. Now, what else do we have here? We have some clay, which can be gathered with the Stonecutters Camp. Notice that the name Stonecutters Camp is orange, which means I don't actually have access to that building blueprint yet, so I can't get started on that. As you can see, once these little beavers get started, they're gonna sort of just grab whatever tree is nearest to them and sort of extend outward in a circle. However, I can use these buttons here to mark trees for harvesting so that I can tell them which trees specifically I want them to cut down. I can also use this minus to clear them so I can make really specific paths if I want. So I'm going to have them cut through into this unknown glade here. Our order is complete. We have 2 woodcutter camps and 14 wood. So we hit the delivery button, and we should now have new citizens in our town. Exploration. Although you're surrounded almost entirely by a thick forest, there are smaller and bigger glades around your starting location. To establish a successful settlement, you'll have to cut your way through to them. Glades can contain resources, treasures, fertile soil, ruined buildings, and more. Use the tree marking tool, the axe icons I showed you earlier, to point your woodcutters to specific areas of forest they should prioritize. The best rewards come from dangerous or forbidden glades. That's the skull icon on the tree, or on the image there. But these always have at least one dangerous glade event within them, which will require you to deliver certain goods or complete a challenge to complete them. Oh, and as we gain reputation, we also get new buildings, so we're going to go ahead and pick up the blueprint to this shelter. And now that we have it, we're going to build it. Now, whenever I make shelters, I try to make a square of 4 of them, because it looks nice. So I'm going to put the roof sort of in the middle there, and as I go around, I'm going to rotate it so that the roof is always in the middle. And then just because, I'll put some paths out there as well. Now, we do have an order to cut into more glades, so we'll go ahead and put our new 3 beavers onto here. Now, really fast, we do have 3 specific kinds of people here. We've got humans, an adaptable species but very susceptible to the rain. Humans are adept at farming, which means that when they farm, there's a chance of getting bonus resources. They really enjoy brewing. Enjoyment allows you to gain your reputation specifically with the humans. Bring that up, and as that goes up, it makes them work harder and also brings you closer to victory. Beavers really are great at woodworking, which is why I'm putting them into the woodcutter camps, and they enjoy engineering. Notice these are always 2 different things. No species both is good at and also happy with one job. Lizards are a very resilient and distrustful species. They are very good with animals and meat production, and prefer to work in warm environments due to their cold-blooded nature. So putting them in a kiln or a bakery, someplace where there's a lot of warmth, will make them very happy. I'm not going to bother marking any trees for these guys. I'll just let them do their thing. You'll notice that it's not just, they don't just go back and forth between the woodcutter camp and the forest. Once the storage in the woodcutter camp is filled, they will take those logs over here to the main warehouse, and then we have access to them to build stuff with. You'll notice that this person here is taking stuff out of the storage and using it to build elsewhere or using it to stoke the fire. Speaking of the fire, you will always have a single person tending to the fire, and the species that you give or that you put on the fire will affect you as well. For example, this lizard likes working in a warm condition, as we said earlier, so putting them on the fire makes them personally happy, but also when a lizard is on the main hearth, it adds +1 to global resolve. Resolve are these numbers here, and the higher those numbers are, the better. If those numbers go down into the negative, people will start to leave us. If instead I put a human in there, well, now the queen's impatience grows 25% more slowly. Let's see what happens if I put a beaver in. Beaver firekeepers know a lot about burning techniques, so 20% slower fuel consumption. So if fuel's an issue, you want that. I generally tend to default to putting lizards on the Great Hearth unless I specifically need something else there for a specific reason. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about these numbers over here on the left. The top number is the population of each species. The middle number is who isn't currently working on something specific. We call them builders because they don't have any other job. I have 6 population of beavers, none of them are builders, and then this last one is how many of them lack shelter. Because we have 4 shelters and each one has 3 spaces, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that is perfect. All of our people have a place to live. Except, now that this last building has been completed, now nobody is lacking a place to live. At some point soon, we should be breaking into one of these glades. Yep, there it is. I hover over this icon here, it tells me everything that's in the glade. There's 15 mushrooms, 15 dewberries, and 1 herbalist camp which I can salvage. Glade events. Glade events are objects found in the forest like abandoned caches, survivor camps, ruins, wild beasts, etc. Some of them are positive, offering goods or new villagers in exchange for a small amount of resources. Others are dangerous, forcing you to act quickly to avoid negative consequences, while also giving you generous rewards should you complete them. Once you select a Glade event, the event panel will show. There you'll be able to find a few different sections: events, worker slots, requirements, and rewards. The effect section shows you the possible negative consequences of the event and how much time you have left before they occur. To complete an event, you need to assign workers to it, select one of the 2 reward options, and select Investigate. Some events simply require you to deliver goods, while others have something called a working effect. Working effects are special conditions that activate once you give the order to investigate an event, like a resolve penalty, a slow debuff, etc. Your goal is to survive these conditions for a set amount of time. After an event has been completed, your workers will deliver the rewards to your warehouse and no negative effects will trigger. So for this one, we can either rebuild this and have an herbalist camp, or we can salvage it and have 30 mushrooms and 30 wood. Either way, I have to send people over here to complete it. And you'll notice that the time that it takes to complete goes down as I put more people on it. I could put only 1 person on this and it would work just fine, but it would take 2 minutes as opposed to 1 minute. And I would like to rebuild it. Now you can see that this human is going to get ingredients right now, so is she. And we have our second glade, which contains some roots and some eggs. Now, if you don't want to break into any more glades, there is actually a setting. Oh, it's locked for now. Never mind. I guess we'll deal with that later. There is another setting I'd like to note, though. If you need a material right away, whatever is currently in here, you can click Force Delivery now, and one of the workers will immediately take whatever they've got into the main warehouse so that you can use it. Because as long as it stays in the woodcutter camp storage, you can't use it to build or anything like that. We have explored into 2 glades. We have 5 woodcutters, well, we have 6. So now we can turn in this order. We're going to get 3 more humans. We're going to get 30 meat. We're going to get another reputation. And I do believe that means that we are going to get a new building, a forager's camp, which allows us to gather vegetables, grain, and insects. Our next order is to make a forager camp to produce 5 vegetables in such a camp. So we're going to need to keep digging until we find vegetables. Oh, hey, look, we've got vegetables right there. How convenient. Not a lot of good space for it. So I'm going to put it a little bit further away, and I'm actually going to set these folks to clearing out the space so that I can maybe put this forager camp a little bit closer to the vegetables. Some things are movable and some things are not. For example, the woodcutter camp is definitely movable. The further away the camp is from the thing that they are harvesting, obviously the longer it will take them to go back and forth. So depending on the level of micromanagement you're willing to do, it's probably a good idea to keep moving your camps closer to whatever resources they are harvesting. Because this is kind of a farming thing, humans, as per this sort of spiraling icon here, are actually really good at this, which means there is a 10% chance of doubling their yield every time they pick a vegetable. So yeah, as you can see, there they are, doing their gathering. See, we have a dangerous glade over here. I think we're going to go ahead and start making our way toward that. Too soon for dangerous glades. Your settlement has not yet prepared for threats that can be found in dangerous glades. Unmark the trees leading to the dangerous glades and follow your orders for now. Okay, game. Okay. I'm still gonna get close to it, but I guess I won't start it off yet. Now, as you can see, we are now in this next sort of phase of the year called the clearance. And our food supply order is done. So we have a forager camp, we have vegetables. What this giant vegetables perk will do is it will give us +1 to vegetables production. Every single time a human goes and picks up vegetables, they will get 1 more. Our next job is to make a stonecutter camp and harvest some clay. So we'll go ahead and set that here next to the clay. M, by the way, is the hotkey for move. We're just going to go ahead and clear out a little bit more space, and then we will move our forager's camp closer to these vegetables.
Monde.
Okay, our order is done. So we will get steel shovels, which will give us, again, a +1 bonus to our clay production. Next order, make a harvester camp and get plant fiber. Plant fiber can be used to make cloth and clothing. So we're going to grab the blueprint. Is there any fiber in my area? Oh yes, we also have this herbalist camp, which I should probably assign people to. So that they can gather these mushrooms and these berries. Now, I can, if I want, uncheck this berries button so that they only harvest the mushrooms, but I'm going to go ahead and let them harvest both. And we may as well extend this path out to here so that it's a little bit faster for them to take their goods to the main storage. Logistics. Every building has its own internal storage where produced and gathered goods are temporarily stored. When the internal storage reaches its limit, the goods will be transported to the main warehouse by a worker. While transporting, it's important to keep in mind that villagers have a limited carry capacity, depending on their profession and active perks, so they might need to walk between their workplace and the main warehouse multiple times. Every few minutes, workers will take breaks and return to a nearby hearth to eat and rest. During a break, they'll consume at least one item of food and try to fulfill all their needs, clothing, services, etc. If a villager has multiple needs tied to complex food, they will consume more than one meal. Goods kept in the building's internal storage are inaccessible to other villagers or production buildings and have to be transported to the main warehouse before they can be further distributed or consumed. So like I said before, you got to keep in mind that chopping down trees doesn't instantly give you trees. It has to be put into the storage and then moved from that storage to the main storage. Okay, so I need plant fiber. It looks like we have these flowers here, this flax field that can indeed give me what I'm looking for. So we're going to make a harvest camp right there. We have newcomers. These people have been sent here by the crown. Which group do you want to stay, Viceroy? The others will continue on to the next settlement. So I can have a human and 2 lizards plus 15 grain, or I can have 1 lizard and 1 human and 10 vegetables, 3 leather, and 3 stone. I think population's the most important thing right now, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that one. Excellent. I'll just put this out here and I'll let them sort of expand in whatever direction they want. Mark trees for harvest. Okay, I will. How about those? That'll also get us into this other glade. You'll notice, by the way, if I hover over any tree or any resource, it will tell us that when it is used, it will give wood. It'll also give a second piece of wood and a 15% chance for these other materials. So plant fiber, eggs, I think that's sap. So you can always tell what you're gonna get by hovering over something. It'll tell you exactly what's in it. Got all the plant fiber done, so we'll finish that order. Now we need planks, bricks, and fabric. I consider these to be tier 2 materials. Tier 1 materials being things you can gather directly. Things like planks and bricks are stuff that takes at least 1 step of crafting to make. So this will be our introduction to tier 2 materials using the crude workstation, which can make planks, fabric, and bricks. We'll learn this later, but this little red symbol here means that it's very inefficient at making these things. It can make them, but it's not very good. It takes a lot of resources and a longer time to craft them, as opposed to at a building that is specifically designed to make these things. Now, we are coming up on the end of the clearance, and you'll find that the weather will change again in just a moment.
Mira! Voila! Hamida.
Okay. I was just checking to see if the crude workshop counted as engineering. It does not.
Pulta.
So, Once again, they are taking wood and turning it into planks, and it takes 8 wood to make 2 planks. It takes 6 plant fiber, or these other things, to make 2 fabric. It takes 6 6 clay to make 2 bricks. I'm just going to go ahead and let them make whatever they want because we need some of each. Now we are in the storm. Now the storm, as you'll notice, immediately has a negative effect on the resolve of your villagers. If your villagers have a low resolve to begin with, the storm can be a very dangerous time because once those resolve numbers go down to negative, people will start to leave your camp. We seem to be okay though. That said, we do have some more homeless folks because we've gotten new people and we have not built new buildings. So we're going to go ahead and make some more housing for them. I don't really have a great place to make another square of houses, but we'll start there. We're going to have this woodcutter camp finish out this area here, and we'll make another square of shelters right here. New glade is opened with clay and vegetables. There we go. Should have plenty of shelter now for all of our people. And now we are back to what's called the drizzle, which is the kindest area. It's the nicest time. It's when crops are planted. It's kind of like the spring. Basically, think of these 3 as spring, autumn, and winter. We need to choose a cornerstone. We can get 50% bonus production on the crude workstation, or we can get 20 reeds and 20 clay for each discovered glade. Well, we're doing fine on both cloth and bricks, so I think the carpenter's tools are the way to go. By the way, just so you know, you can click on any of your citizens, find out their name, their job, and what it is that they need, and which of those needs are being met. This is Krahi Stormclaw. Now that we've got enough bricks, I'm going to go ahead and have them stop making bricks. Okay, we got our building blocks done. We'll go ahead and finish that up. Ancient tablets. Cut through to discover one dangerous or forbidden glade and get an ancient tablet, which is a very valuable resource that you can sometimes get from the dangerous glades. Also, we get amber, which is basically money. Amber is like gold. It is what we use to purchase things. So, we're going to go ahead and grab, let's see. Probably we're going to go with the beaver house. And you'll notice that when you make a house that is specific to a species, number one, obviously those species will favor living in those houses. And secondly, which means you can put them closer to their work. But secondly, it also gives them a boost to resolve when they are using a house type that is specific to them. Now, we want to go ahead and move this woodcutter camp close, and we're going to cut right into this dangerous glade. We do have someone unemployed, so we will go ahead and just make a few more few more roads to make sure everyone can move around. The basic road gives plus 5% speed to any villager walking on it. Later on, we'll get access to paved roads that give better percentages. Okay, we have found our dangerous glade, which contains an ancient shrine. In 41 seconds, it's going to kill 3 random villagers. I need 5 planks, 5 fabric, and 10 simple tools in order to end this ancient shrine as a threat. So I'm actually going to cease production of these beaver houses. Using this button right here that says select a building or a deposit to destroy. Excellent. Okay. Because we need those planks for this project up here. Now, there's nothing I can do about the first 3 villages that are going to die. That's just a thing that's going to happen. Fortunately, we've got some newcomers. So we should be able to assign a full crew to get this dealt with in 30 seconds once they're there. We've got all of the stuff we need. But of course, they're going to need to bring the materials. And there it goes. We've got 3 people dead. And that's going to be an inevitability in these games. Sometimes you're going to lose people. That's just the way it goes. It's going to happen again in about 5 more minutes. But it looks to me like we're going to have the threat dealt with long before then. Back into the clearance. Now, they're going to carry that tablet or whatever else back to the storage, and that's it. Ah, there it is. There's the tablet being taken to storage. Boom, it goes in, and the order is done. And that is tutorial settlement number 1 complete. We've almost leveled up to 2. We earned 10 food stockpiles, which we can use for upgrades later on. We also unlocked the woodcutter camp, stonecutter, harvester, scavenger, the crude workstation, the small hearth, the warehouse, which is going to be necessary for later, trading post, and farm fields. And now that we're done with our first settlement, we're going to go ahead and start another one, but that will be for another video. Thank you very much for watching Against the Storm Overexplained, and I will see you in a few days.